This is your weekly report on corruption in the Philippine government. The chief of police in Tudela town, Camotes Island, Cebu is in danger of losing his post after a person under police custody was able to escape on Tuesday, the 2nd of April. Although the inmate was immediately recaptured, an administrative investigation will still be conducted to determine the possible liability of the police escorts and the chief of police, said Police Lieutenant Colonel Gerard A. Speller, spokesperson of Police Regional Office Central Visayas Chief Police Brigadier General Anthony Abron. There is an ongoing investigation for possible administrative liability and some things have been found out that need consideration, said Peller. The 41-year-old inmate, Rodel Meningo, who is facing drug charges, was brought to Barangay Poblacion, Danao City, Northern Cebu to attend a court hearing. While waiting for the court hearing, the inmate and the police escorts decided to have their breakfast first in a carinderia. The inmate stood up and asked permission that he would just get a toothpick. Instead of getting a toothpick, the inmate ran and escaped from his police escorts. It was around 1 a.m. on Wednesday, the 3rd of April, when the inmate was recaptured in the house of his live-in partner. Police Captain Leoval Singson, chief of the Tudela Police, said that he has ordered an investigation to determine the possible lapses committed by the police escorts. Peller said Singson may also be held liable for the escape for command responsibility. We expect that thorough investigation will be conducted to check if there was negligence on the part of the police escorts and if the commander did his job to supervise, Peller said. Peller said there is a procedure when bringing an inmate to a court hearing and this must be followed all the time. The Sandigan Bayan has affirmed the regional trial court's decision that convicted of graft a former official of the Bureau of Customs in Cebu and a private individual over the auction and payment of 26,908 bags of illegally shipped sugar in 1999. Affirmed was the conviction of Benjamin D. Bongan, former auction and cargo disposal head of BOC in Cebu, and Roger Tiang, a businessman. Also affirmed were their 6-year jail term and fine of 10.8 million pesos. Bongan was also perpetually disqualified from holding public office. Their appeal was initially lodged before the Court of Appeals, but it was later transferred to the Sandigan because the CA lacked appellate jurisdiction over their case. Bongan admitted in his motion that the filing of notice of appeal before the CA was erroneous, and he begged the anti-graft court's kind indulgence and consideration to accommodate his appeal in the interest of justice. Ang, on the other hand, cited several rulings where the Supreme Court relaxed the application of technical rules of procedure to serve the broader interest of justice, accepting the appeal but denying their arguments to reverse the RTC's decision. The Sandigan Bayan said, the conspiracy between the accused appellants was duly established by the prosecution and discussed in the assailed decision of the RTC. Bongan and Ang were charged over the disposition of the 26,908 bags of undeclared sugar that was confiscated by the BOC Cebu in 1999. The perishable cargo was later auctioned off, with Ang's company as the winning bidder. Ang paid a 21 million peso deposit for the sugar, but he later asked for a 10.86 million pesos refund because his company reportedly received only 12,754 bags from the BOC when state prosecutors conducted an investigation. They found out that Ang's company actually got 26,908 bags of sugar instead of the 12,754 bags the company claimed to have received from the Bureau. The Sandigan Bayan has ordered a 90-day preventive suspension of Aldrin C. Cunha, Executive Vice President of the National Defense College of the Philippines, over his pending graft case that was filed when he was the city administrator of Quezon City. In a 6-page resolution issued on the 3rd of April, 2024, the anti-graft court said that the criminal charge filed against Cunha is sufficient in form and substance, and, thus, the issuance of the suspension is only a matter of course. This is because a preventive suspension is not a penalty. It is not imposed as a result of judicial proceedings. In fact, if acquitted, the official concerned shall be entitled to reinstatement and to the salaries and benefits which he failed to receive during suspension, the resolution stated. Taking into consideration the public policy involved in preventively suspending a public officer charged under a valid information, the protection of public interest will definitely have to prevail over the private interest of the accused. It also stated, the resolution was written by Presiding Justice Amparo M. Cabotage Tang with the concurrence of Associate Justices Bernalito R. Fernandez and Ronald B. Moreno. Prosecutors alleged that Cunha, who was then city administrator of Quezon City at that time, together with former Mayor Herbert Bistec Bautista, made the full payment of 25,342,359 pesos to Signet Energy and Power Asia, Incorporated for the supply and installation of solar power system and waterproofing works for the city's Civic Center building. However, the prosecutors alleged that Signet was not entitled to the said amount due to its failure to get the net metering system from Meralco, which is a requirement of the supply and delivery agreement. Bautista and Cunha also have another case before the Sandigan Bayan over the payment made to Geodata Solutions Inc. amounting to 32,107,912 pesos for the procurement of online occupational permitting and tracking system. The prosecution alleged that no appropriate ordinance was given by the Sangguniang Bayan for the project, nor was complete delivery of the products made. The Commission on Audit has flagged the provincial government of Mountain Province for awarding 2 irrigation projects to a blacklisted construction firm. In its 2023 annual audit report, the COA said that while the provincial government was able to rebid and award the projects to a new contractor, the incident could have been avoided. The failure to conduct a thorough post-qualification check during procurement activities resulted in the award of 2 projects with total contract cost of 8.315 million pesos for the implementation of small-scale irrigation projects received from the Department of Agriculture to a blacklisted construction firm. The audit report read, COA records show that the provincial government received 10.157 million pesos from the DA for the implementation of the irrigation projects. 2 of the projects worth 4.950 million pesos and 3.366 million pesos involved the construction of the Mares and Diversion Dam and Sanangan Irrigation Canal, respectively. Contracts for both projects, which were awarded to ADL General Construction, were rebid and awarded to a new contractor, Toyd Builders Corporation. In the 20th of August 23, inquiry by the audit team begged that the provincial government's Bids and Awards Committee belatedly learned that ADL was among the blacklisted contractors. The firm was blacklisted over its previous failure to comply with contractual obligations and written lawful instruction of the procuring entity, poor performance or unsatisfactory quality and progress of work, as well as failure to meet the approved specifications for quality of materials and workmanship. The provincial BAC said it learned that ADL was blacklisted only when the Government Procurement Policy Board system did not accept its name for another contract. The COA reminded the provincial governments to be more diligent in reviewing the qualification of bidders. It said similar incidents may result in a possible non-performance of the contractor's obligation as contained in the contract agreement to the disadvantage of the provincial government. The COA said the provincial BAC is committed to regularly check the consolidated blacklisting report before issuing any notice of award of contracts to avoid a similar incident. A former Sangguniang Kabataan chairman from Kaoan, Ilocos Sur, was gunned down on Quirino Boulevard here on his birthday on Monday afternoon, the 8th of April. Police identified the victim as Marian Tugade, 27, a son of former Mayor Mario Tugade of Kaoan and a resident of Barangay Don Alejandro Quiroljaco, Kaoan. Initial investigation disclosed that the victim was driving a sports utility vehicle with his girlfriend as passenger when unidentified gunmen on board a motorcycle appeared and shot him in the face. The suspects fled and the victim was taken to a hospital where he died. Police are conducting follow-up operations. 3 police personnel who were apprehended for using the EDSA busway last week were relieved from their posts, an official announced yesterday. The policemen, who are non-commissioned officers, are undergoing investigation, according to Philippine National Police Public Information Officer Colonel Jean Fajardo. They have been identified and sacked from their posts, Fajardo said in an interview. Fajardo did not identify the police officers who are assigned with the Police Security and Protection Group and Aviation Security Group. Traffic enforcers apprehended the police personnel for using the EDSA Carousel, an exclusive lane for commuter buses, on Friday. They were given traffic citation tickets. According to Fajardo, the police officers were using PNP-marked vehicles when they traveled along the EDSA bus lane. Fajardo reminded police officers that they can use the busway only during law enforcement operations and when responding to emergencies. Violators may face administrative sanctions from the PNP. 13 officers of the Bureau of Immigration accused of kidnapping 16 Indians are facing criminal charges before the Pasay City Prosecutor's Office. Complaints for kidnapping, arbitrary detention, grave coercion, robbery and extortion were filed against the BI officers on Monday. According to the lawyer of the complainants, the Indian nationals were allegedly illegally detained for over a week despite having complete travel and working documents. The lawyer said the victims even bargained with the immigration officers to lower the money being asked from them from 1 million pesos to 350,000 pesos each. Immigration Commissioner Norman Tansinko stood by the 13 BI agents who arrested the foreigners in Antique and Iloilo. Tansinko said the immigration officers conducted legitimate operations against the Indian nationals allegedly involved in the illegal 5-6 money lending scheme as well as kidnapping and drug trafficking. The Indians said they did not violate the country's immigration law as they had working visas. Tansinko, however, said foreigners engaged in illegal activities in the Philippines should be arrested and deported regardless if they have working permits. Former Ilocos Sur Governor Luis Chavez Singson will give 100,000 pesos in cash reward to traffic enforcers of the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority who accosted yesterday his two-vehicle convoy for using the EDSA bus lane. Singson said he would talk to acting MMDA Chairman Romando Oret so he could give the reward to the traffic enforcers who pulled over his armored car along the northbound lane of the EDSA carousel in Cubao, Quezon City. Congratulations to the MMDA enforcers who accosted my convoy. I am not angry. I will even give them cash incentive, Singson said. He insisted that the reward is not a bribe, saying he would pay the 5,000 pesos fine imposed by the MMDA for his traffic infraction. The MMDA traffic enforcers belong to the agency's Special Operations Group strike force led by Gabriel Go. According to Go, Singson did not resist receiving the traffic violation ticket. Singson apologized to the public for the incident, but maintained it was not his intention to use the exclusive lane for commuter buses on EDSA. I am sorry for what happened. It should not be emulated. Nag overtake lang young driver. Hindi naman sa bus lane mismo, he said. The bulletproof car also has no license plates, but Singson claimed it was registered with the Land Transportation Office. It has no plate number, but it was already registered. The Baluat Motor Works assembles bulletproof cars, he said. Singson was in the armored car when traffic enforcers stopped the convoy. The Department of the Interior and local government has started investigating the alleged involvement of some local government unit officials in the illegal Philippine offshore gaming operation here. In his order issued on the 5th of April, Interior Secretary Benjamin Abalos Jr. said a task force was created to handle the investigation into the conduct of the local officials but who were not named in his directive. Abalos said the investigation would look into any possible administrative misconduct or neglect by LGU officials with respect to their responsibilities under the local government code and related laws in relation to the alleged illegal POGO operations in Bamban. The task force is composed of 6 lawyers and an engineer headed by lawyer Benjamin Zabala Jr., Division Chief of the DILG's Internal Audit Service. Abalos said the task force is authorized to reach out to any government departments or agencies for assistance if necessary. While Abalos' order did not mention the names of local officials who would be subjected to the investigation, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian had previously asked the DILG to look into the possible connection between Bamban Mayor Alice Guo and Zunyuan Technology Incorporated. On the 13th of March, authorities led by the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission and police and military operatives raided Zunyuan Technology's premises for alleged human trafficking and serious illegal detention of its workers. A total of 868 POGO workers, 371 Filipinos, 427 Chinese, 57 Vietnamese, 8 Malaysians, 3 Taiwanese, 2 Indonesians and 2 Rwandans were rescued from the company's vast compound in Anupal village. In a statement sent to reporters on Monday, GUO said Gatchalian and Payak were simply acting in good faith, on the basis of information that was given to them. Nevertheless, I deny in the strongest terms all of these allegations of criminal conduct, or at least, allegations that I have somehow aided and abetted the supposedly illegal acts of Zunyuan Technology, she asserted. GUO said she would never tolerate and be involved in heinous crimes like human trafficking, torture and illegal detention. I would like to remind everyone that, as Filipinos, our constitution guarantees that we are all innocent until proven guilty. The point being, I am being unfairly persecuted in the absence of any real investigation and without any court trial, GUO noted. She said she was ready to answer all accusations and prove that all accusations are false and unjust if given that she would have chance to do so. I welcome any investigation carried out by the proper authorities at the proper forum, GUO said. Tourism Undersecretary for Legal and Special Concerns Mayor Lane Bathan, also the Chief of Staff of Tourism Secretary Cristina Frasco, drew criticisms following her Facebook post where she allegedly prioritized helping a friend in Japan while in a meeting about national concerns. In a viral public Facebook post being shared by netizens across social media platforms, Bathan shared a screenshot of her supposed conversation with her best friend Regal Oliver, also the Mandawi city treasurer lawyer. Bathan shared that Oliver sought her assistance as the latter needed help on Google Translate that prompted her to stop a meeting about a national issue. When your best friend calls you because she needed help on Google Translate so she can eat and thrive in Japan, all else will have to stop, even if it's about the airport takeover and privatization. Bathan's caption read. She also tagged Oliver in her post with the screenshot of their conversation. Oliver also took to Facebook to share her account while in Japan, captioning it as true story. She said that she cannot find an English menu in Japan while craving Japanese cuisine, so she called her bestie, Bathan. She was in the middle of a very important meeting that concerns a sensitive national issue, Oliver wrote, and then attaching a transcript of their conversation where she is supposedly asking Bathan to teach her how to use Google Translate. Bathan allegedly replied, "Ma, you don't know what meeting I had to stop for this, but okay." Oliver wrote, recounting that her best friend gave instructions. The Department of Tourism official was also quoted as saying, "Haha, feeding you in Japan is more important than matters of national concern, Ma." The screenshot of these two Facebook posts circulated on Facebook and X, formerly Twitter, and garnered negative reactions from online users. The two has verified Facebook accounts. They called for explanation about the DOT official's move to consider feeding her friend in Japan more important than matters of national concern. Attorney Elaine Tantenko Bathan and attorney Regal Oliver, can you please explain to us why feeding a friend in Japan is more important than matters of national concern? Writer E.B. Jagalbert wrote. Even if it was a joke between the two of you, since you are also lawyers of significant professional experience, was there ever a need for you both to post that conversation on your respective Facebook walls? He added. Others called out the alarming level of entitlement in this administration, citing the misuse of taxpayers' money by officials. The posts by Bathan and Oliver are no longer accessible online. However, several online users are circulating screenshots of these posts. On Friday afternoon, Bathan issued a statement acknowledging that she should be more mindful of her social media activity, stressing that her social media activity never intends to disrespect the office she represents, her colleagues and the purpose of her work. I understand that my previous post has caused different reactions, some negative, which I regret, as it is taking away attention from more serious matters that we have been working tirelessly on, the DOT Undersecretary said. I acknowledge that as a public servant, I should be more mindful of how and what I share, especially in public, to not cause any confusion, she also said. The DOT official also apologized to Frasco, her colleagues and the public following the post. That's all for this week. I'll see you next week with more stories of corruption and foolishness within the Philippine government.